Hello, this is Dragon Tank 1400 here, and this is my top 10 couples that I think should have happened. Now, these are couples that I believe that should have got together at one point in the show, cartoon, movie, book, or whatever the media type is. As long as it's like fiction, and as long as like I have watched it, and I just thought they should have ended up together, or they should have been together at one point and never got together, they will make this list, and it's going to be like one per franchise, and those are basically like the only rules. So I'm sure there's a lot of shows and stuff that have better couples that should have got together but never did, that I just haven't watched. So if you're like, if your favorite like couple isn't on here, and it's like a show that's not listed, that's chances are I haven't watched it. So sorry about that. But without further ado, number 10. Alright, Dawn and Scott. Now this is a strange couple to say the least to put on this list. They really only had like one moment. It was one-sided for like a second, and then that just got overlooked by the fact that they were so against each other the next episode. However, I do think like Scott as a character, because of his like, he's probably had like in the total drama series, he's probably had one of the most detailed like backstories. Like we kind of know the most about his past than any other character, and kind of like his upbringing of how he was like in a trailer park and all that stuff. He's kind of had a hard life. And though we don't know much about Dawn's past, we can assume from her personality, just kind of the way her personality is, that she would maybe be able to help Scott. Now, I'm not condoning like getting into a relationship thinking you're changing someone, but kind of how I see this relationship working is like Dawn decides to like help Scott out just as friends, and then eventually as Scott's starting just to change, they kind of fall for each other eventually. But anyway, like that's why it's like number 10, because it's not like there's really they were really like kind of like enemies in the episode that they clashed. Like Dawn was the first one to figure out Scott's schemes. Like I really did like that, and I kind of just like liked the couple together. I mean, this is number 10. It's kind of hard to even pick 10 to be honest. But so without further ado, number 9. Alright, Raimundo and Kimiko. Now, I originally had this couple higher up on the list, but then I kind of realized that I personally don't like the couple as much as some of the other ones down the list, and that's kind of the list is like my top 10 favorite couples that should have been. And Raimundo and Kimiko, though they had their moments and everything, I definitely could see a connection between them. It just, to me, it was like, yeah, it should have happened for sure, but it never did, and they never really had any episodes that focused on it or anything like that. And it was like their personalities do like mesh well, sorta together, but it's just not like my favorite of these couples that should have been. And there's really not much I can say on it, because they just had their moments like throughout the series here and there. And it was kind of obvious that like Raimundo and Kimiko kind of liked each other, but more than that, it never stated, they never became a couple, which makes them on this list for sure. But it was also that they never had like, I don't know, like their personalities do mix well, but it doesn't mix well as I believe some of the other people on this list. But they're still number 9, and I still like them as a couple. I definitely, when the show was airing, Shaolin Showdown was airing, I definitely shipped them. So on to the next one, number 8. Now Sokka and Ty Lee is kind of a weird one to place on this list, because one, like that Avatar has not really ended yet. It still has like one more comic. Now the show has ended, but there's a series of comics that I do recommend you guys reading. They're actually, if you like the show, they're pretty good. But the final comic hasn't ended, and the couple that would have replaced them would have been Zuko and Suki. However, Zuko and Suki has had in the comics some interaction, whereas Sokka and Ty Lee have not. So I'm gonna just assume like that has not that will not happen. I mean, it's I don't there's no way they're gonna be able to fit into the story unless they like tag it in at the very end, if it does happen. Which, I mean, I don't think Zuko and Suki exactly will happen either, but it's definitely more likely that it will. And though like in my last I was like Raimundo and Kimiko only had their moments. Sokka and Ty Lee had way less moments than Raimundo and Kimiko. However, I like them together better. Like Sokka and Ty Lee, they just work together because they're both well, Ty Lee is like very cheery and very like comical, part of like Azula's group. During if you've seen Avatar: Last Airbender season 2, those episodes with Ty Lee, you'll know what I'm talking about. And Sokka is also funny. He cracks his own jokes and stuff. And both Sokka is like a ladies' man, and Ty Lee is like she wants to get guys' attention all the time. Like, so they have like a lot of like similarities in that regard. But that's also because of that. That's why they're so like far down on this list, because I do think Sokka and Ty Lee, if they went together, they would be loyal to each other. But at the same time, like Sokka's a ladies' man, and Ty Lee like wants the guy's attention. Like that's just kind of the part of their character. It's like subtle. It's not really displayed much, but it is there. And I kind of do like the next few characters on this list have like the same mentality where like they're the same, like almost they're not exactly the same characters for sure. It's the same like type that they're both kind of like funny characters, and I don't know why, I just like that. So I guess on to the next one. Number 7. Caitlin and Jude from 16. They really only had one episode where they hadn't had any interaction without the rest of the group. If I remember right, they might have had a couple more side plots that I just don't remember. But it was really that one episode, like, Caitlin was getting over her ex-boyfriend, Jude was helping her out, and their friends thought that they were dating, which they weren't. Jude was just helping her, and I just really kind of liked that episode because like Jude's like laid back and stuff, and Caitlin can be a little high strung sometimes and emotional and that kind of stuff, and Jude just like reminded Caitlin just to like just chill, man, just chill, like seriously, like, and that's what Caitlin needed to do. She just needed to chill and just like kind of focus on herself instead of like getting a guy, and Jude really helped her with that. And Jude is a little bit laid back, maybe too laid back, and Caitlin's a little too much of a, well, I guess Jen in that show would be more of a warrior, but Caitlin's more like more emotional than any other character. So I don't know, I just kind of like them together. Kind of has like a similar mentality than like Sokka and Ty Lee, but it's definitely different. Like both of them are, I mean, it's a comical show, so both of them do have a certain level of comedy, but like Caitlin's kind of the same as Ty Lee because they're both like very cheery and upbeat, and they both want a guy in their life. Jude and Sokka are different, but at the same time they do like crack their own jokes and stuff like that. So I don't know. I really just like those two characters together, and I think they should have not ended up together, but at least had a period of time where they were a couple. So without further ado, number 6. So Tidus and Rikku from Final Fantasy X. Now, first thing I just want to tell you guys, the only Final Fantasy games I played was the first Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VIII. Yes, I'd never played Final Fantasy VII, and that's because I don't think it could ever live up to the hype that it's presented as itself. But that's a different topic for another day. Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy XIII. Now, out of all those characters of the Final Fantasy ones that I have played, Tidus and Rikku, I really should have made the most sense of a couple. I really didn't like Tidus and Yuna. I understand why, like, for the story it had to happen, but Tidus and Rikku just like makes more sense. It's kind of the same mentality as like the last two the last two couples, that Tidus and Rikku are kind of like they're comical characters a little bit, but Rikku is also like a little bit stressed out sometimes and has more character development than like a couple of the last posts, and we see like Tidus like helping her out through those situations depending on like how much you use the character, because you could use the other characters and you can get different cutscenes. But I use Rikku is like my favorite Final Fantasy X character by far, and I just used her so much. So I got those cutscenes, and Tidus and Rikku just kind of, I don't know, they just fit as a couple. They're both like lighthearted at times, and at the same times they can be really serious. It just depends. Like, I don't know. I just think they work better than Tidus and Yuna. And I never played Final Fantasy X-2, so, but I know that Tidus and Rikku don't end up together because I've like looked that stuff up. So, without further ado, number 5. Now, Tommy Pickles and Kimmy Finster from All Grown Up. Now, it's also from Rugrats, but they're babies, too young to be shipped. Yeah, okay. So, from All Grown Up, though, they don't really have a ton of interaction, like just one-on-one. They, if I remember right, they do have a lot of interaction. Kimmy actually had a lot of interaction with Susie, instead of like the main cast, and of course her brother Chucky. But she didn't really have any like one-on-ones with Tommy. There was that one episode where that Halloween special where Chucky got all like crazy that he thought Tommy liked Kimmy and everything, and in the end it seems that they do kind of give a smile, and they seem to like they both of them do like each other, and it showed that was Kimmy, there was like a heart and then like TP plus KF, and it was actually Kimmy who did that like a few years before the series ever aired. So I do like them together. Just on the plane that Tommy's a really good character. He's loyal. He's different enough from Rugrats that I like it. Like you see him like struggling with girls like in his adolescence. Not as much as Chucky is, but given Chucky's character, that's understandable. But you see him struggling with the girls and struggling through stuff, and Kimmy is a strong female, and Tommy was always a strong male. Like throughout the series, like he was always the leader. So I do think like when you get like a really strong male, you need like kind of a strong female to kind of be like, okay, you're doing this. Like I really don't think you should be doing this. Like kind of thing to kind of keep him in line. And it was kind of, I don't know. I just think they work together. I just like them together. There's not much else I can say about it. Okay, on to number 4. Elsa and Kristoff from the movie Frozen. Now, Kristoff obviously ends up with Anna, and even if they have like sequels and stuff, Elsa and Kristoff will never end up together because sisters don't date girls don't date their sisters' ex-boyfriends. Same with men. Like men don't date their brothers' ex-girlfriends. Like when they're good brothers and sisters. Obviously, unless there's exceptions, of course, where it could be relatable. But beyond that, this couple's never gonna happen, and I wish it would. And here's my reason behind it. Both Kristoff and Elsa understood marriage a lot better than Anna did in the movie. They both gave, despite the fact that Elsa and Kristoff, and this is another reason, that they're both loners. Elsa and Kristoff are very much loners, but they understand marriage better than Anna, and they gave Anna like the same advice when, I can't remember his name, but she was like, all I have over here is that one guy who turned out to be the bad guy, and that, oh, you're rushing into marriage, that's not a smart idea. Those two really seem like the more mature characters of the series now, they both had their struggles. They're both loners, and like, you can tell that they're both introverts for one thing, and you can tell Anna's like an extreme extrovert, like to the max. Like, she wanted to be with people. Like, it's kind of crazy how much she was an extrovert. And I just think Elsa and Kristoff would work better together, because they would be like, okay, we can just like chill in the castle. We don't have to have this huge party. We don't have to go to this huge party. Anna would be like, oh, let's go to this party. Come on, you got to go to this party, like or whatever it is. Like, I just think they work better together because they're both like so much of an introvert, and you can be like opposites attract, all this stuff. But when it comes down to it in a relationship, like if introverts like really don't want to go out a lot, and they don't like going out, where extroverts like going out. They like to be around people, and the thing is that creates like conflict within the relationship. When you have two introverts together, they're just okay chilling just together, and it just makes, I just think it makes it a better relationship. Not that introverts and extroverts can't be together. It's just like, I just think it's a lot of times better that two introverts or two extroverts get together. So anyway, on to number 3. Ron Stoppable and Tara from Kim Possible. Now, it's kind of like the same reasons Ron and Kim not getting together as Kristoff and Anna. They're just too opposite for me. I just don't see it working. Up until like the very end, where Ron just steps up and just puts it to the 9th degree, and he gives this like monkey ninja, like crazy stuff that just happens. He becomes like this amazing character, and it takes like that level of character to be with Kim, because she's just like this kid. She's just like this amazing character as well, that just like fights and everything. And up until that moment, I don't think like Ron was right for Kim. I don't think Kim was right for Ron either. Now, go back to season 1. Now, Ron actually gets his first villain of the series. He has like 2 major villains. Gil, which is the one in this episode, and then Monkey Fist. But beyond that, Gil is introduced in this episode, and Tara actually likes him. Like, it's obvious to everyone but Ron that Tara actually likes him. and like, Tara would have been, she's not like Kim. Like, Tara's not a fighter, and Ron's really not a fighter. He like runs away. He helps Kim out like from time to time, but it has like that more like inline stuff. And Tara was like kind of sweet and everything, and Ron, I don't know. I just think Ron and Tara would just made a better couple than Ron and Kim, up until the end, where Ron finally stands up, like steps up. Like, then I think he could have like ended up with Kim. But before then, like throughout all the episodes before then, that's every episode except for the very last, I think Ron and Tara should have been. They should have at least become a couple in this series for a time. Instead of, it's like the creators of the show created this episode with Tara liking Ron, but never like fall through from it. They just decided to like add Yori later on, which I'm fine with. I like Yori as a character, but it's the same with like Ron and Kim. Like, Yori's too similar to Kim. Like, really, like, he should just end up with Kim rather than Yori. But Tara is different enough from Kim that, I don't know. They should have made a couple at some point in the series. I do think Ron and Kim should have ended up together, but it should have been at the very end of the entire series. And I don't know. I just think Ron and Tara should have became a couple at some point. It was like they were teasing us, and I don't know. Anyway, so on to number 2. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Satine from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Okay. I don't think any Star Wars fans before this ever thought that Obi-Wan Kenobi would ever have a love interest. And I'm so glad that he did. Satine is like perfect for Obi-Wan, and those two like obviously love each other. They at one point Obi-Wan's like, I will give, like, he's talking to Satine. He's like all you have to do is say the word and I will quit the Jedi Council. I will quit being a Jedi. Satine just looks at him with this expression that is like, she wants that. She wants to be with Obi-Wan, but she would never ask that of him because she knows that Obi-Wan loves being a Jedi and that she would never want to take that away from him. Like, so it's just amazing seeing Obi-Wan and Satine together. Like, having Obi-Wan Kenobi have a love interest. They obviously don't end up together because of the rules of the Jedi. Like, Jedi can't get married or can't, like, have a relationship or anything like that. So they never end up together. But it's clear that they really should have. And Satine died. Like, spoiler: Satine dies in the Clone Wars by the hand of Darth Maul. Darth Maul acting his revenge on Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan's reaction to Satine's death is what Anakin's should have been to seeing Padme's death. Like, he mourns Satine's death, but he doesn't, like, have anger towards Darth Maul. Like, he does it, like, Obi-Wan, like, when Satine dies, Obi-Wan like, hugs her and just, it's a very, very sad and touching moment. Darth Maul is the one who did it. He's right there. And Obi-Wan doesn't turn to anger. He just, like, he mourns Satine's death. And that's what, like, Anakin should have done. And I really like Obi-Wan and Satine's, like, reaction throughout the episodes. They were like, especially when Anakin's there and he, like, gives this comic response. Like, cause he, like, Anakin, like, knows, like, oh, Obi-Wan and Satine like each other, and he's, like, gives us, like, these comments, and, like, both of them, like, look at him like, shut up. it's just very comical. Anyway, this couple should have, like, almost was number one. It really was. It was really close between this and the next one. But anyway, on to number one. Harry Potter and Luna Lovegood. Now, there's, like, three main ships with Harry. Well, I guess four. Cho Chang. I won't get into that. Like, I think the books explain why Harry should not end up with Cho Chang. But then there's Jenny, Hermione, and Luna. Now, Harry ends up with Jenny in the books, and I get what J.K. Rowling was going with this. They met at King Cross Station. That's, like, where her parents met. Like, Harry saved her in the second book. And then it's like, we don't get to see Jenny develop. Like honestly, like, we get Jenny, okay, she's just, like, this little kid who's afraid of Harry because she likes him. And then we jump to this confident girl who can deal with anyone. She's strong, she's confident. She really doesn't have any character flaws at all. And we don't get to see that transition at all. We don't get to see her deal with being possessed by Voldemort. And it's just like, I don't know. The whole thing is, J.K. Rowling really just, you can say she's an amazing writer, but she screwed up on this one. Now there's an airplane. Okay, I'm just gonna continue. But she just messed up on this one. And let's just be honest with ourselves. I would have been fine with Harry and Jenny ending up together if Jenny played a better role. Like, after the second one, like, there should have been, like, Harry and Jenny should have made, like, a connection, a bigger connection in the second book, the Chamber of Secrets, because that's when Jenny, like, gets possessed by Voldemort. Like, that's something really tough to deal with, and it's just, Harry just, like, I like, even when he comes back in the third one, he doesn't ask Jenny, like, oh, how are you dealing with, like, what happened, last year? Like, there's never a conversation. There's never anything that goes on. It's just like, I don't know. The couple just shouldn't end up together. And Jenny's character, like, it just shoots up without any explanation, and it's just like she ends up having like no character faults, which is a fault in a character, unless you're dealing with like an old wise character. And even then, like say Dumbledore, for instance, he didn't really have any character faults, but he had character faults in his backstory. Like, so, like, when we see him in the series, he doesn't really have any character faults, but then we get in his backstory and we see he had all these problems that he had to deal with. Okay, so I'm done talking about Jenny's character. I think I've kind of made my point there. Now, the reason Harry and Luna make more sense than Harry and Hermione is because Harry and Luna, like, up until the 7th book where everyone lost someone at the very end, Harry and Luna were really the only two characters that have lost someone, and that Luna actually talked to Harry about it. So it's just like they made that connection. Like, when Luna was introduced in the 5th one, Voldemort was just released in the end of the 4th one, and she was just a breath of fresh air. And that's kind of what Harry needed. Harry was dealing with all this crap, all this stuff. And he needed like someone in his life who was a breath of fresh air and who could understand what he was going through. Luna understood Harry probably better than any other character in that book up until when Harry and Jenny gets married. Because you obviously, when you're married, you understand the person. Well, at least I hope so, better than anyone else. So Luna understood Harry, I believe, more so than even Ron and Hermione did. And like, why this, like, they had like this unknown connection, and Luna was just, the way she like described it, she was just there for Harry. And like at the end of the 5th one, she had this special moment with Harry, like, I'm sorry that your godfather died. And it's just like, and then like at the end of the 7th one, she's like, if I were you, I would probably want to be alone right now. I'll go distract them. It's just like Harry and Luna really should have ended up together. And there's so many like good points where they easily could have. And it's just like, to me, it just seems like a waste in the writing how these two characters, even in the books, in the movies too, that they just kind of had this like chemistry, this like, oh, like Luna understood Harry like I said, more than any other character. And it's just like, part of it is that she understands what it's like to lose a parent, whereas no other character really does. Well, Neville kind of does, but like Neville and Harry never actually talk about it either, and that's actually just to bring similarities between Harry and Neville, because one of them were to be the prophecy and everything. But that's another topic. But Harry and Luna they just made this connection, and it was just like Luna understood Harry. And Luna was like a breath of fresh air, which Harry needed, but he also needed someone that he could talk to, who could understand these things. And Luna really she understood Harry like better. She was that breath of fresh air, and she was that character that understood Harry. Both things that Harry needed when he was going through this stuff. So Harry and Luna really should have ended up together, in my opinion. If it was written differently, I could see that Harry could have ended up with Jenny. Harry and Hermione, I just think putting them together would have been just completely lazy writing. Just because I don't think it flowed that much, and it's just like, oh, main character and main male and main female character end up together. I just think that's kind of lazy writing on J.K. Rowling's part. I'm glad she didn't do that, but at the same time, what she did do didn't execute as well. And and Harry and Luna, like, Luna was in the story after the 5th one. She was in the story more than Jenny was, and Jenny became, even after Jenny became Harry's girlfriend, Luna was in the story more. And it's just like, come on, Harry and Luna should have ended up together. Let's all be honest. That's why they're my number one. Like I said, Obi-Wan and Satine almost beat him out, but Harry and Luna really just had this unknown connection, and it made so much more sense for the story itself. And it's just like, and like Obi-Wan and Satine getting together, like, it makes sense that for the story that they didn't end up together. But Harry and Luna, for the story, it would have made more sense if they would have ended up together. So that's what kind of why they're number one, and Obi-Wan and Satine's number two. But anyway, so I hope you guys like enjoyed this top 10. This is just like for Valentine's Day, and I don't know, top 10 couples that should have ended up together. If you're kind of like me, like Valentine's Day, to me it doesn't bother me anymore. It used to that I didn't have anyone with me, but you know, these are 10 couples that should have been but weren't, and this is in TV shows and stuff. So there's probably a lot of couples in real life that should be together but are not for one reason or another, and that's kind of this list describes. Like, it's particularly like the last two very different reasons why they didn't get together. Like, pretty much all these are like kind of different reasons why they didn't get together. But anyway, so I do hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'm probably going to continue this top 10 just sporadically, just, you know, whenever. And I do pray, like, this Valentine's Day, that if you're with someone, that you do like appreciate that person. And if it's someone that you're not really supposed to be with, like, maybe you should, you know, not be with that person. Maybe you should, like, kind of pray to God to see who you want to be with. And if you're not with anyone, like, consider it like a time that just you can reflect on be with yourself and just be with God, and grow that relationship with Jesus Christ. And don't be like downcast that you're not with someone on Valentine's Day. I know it's kind of hard because you see everyone else with people, and like the media points like, oh, all these Valentine's Day episodes and everything. But at the same time, like, it's fine being single. Like, I mean, I want to be with someone, but I'm fine with being single for right now. Like, I would much rather be single than be with someone I'm not supposed to be with, basically. And if I just have to wait to be single the rest of my life, you know, it's in God's hands. So anyway, I just pray that you know, that you guys just come to Jesus Christ and just know that He's going to be with you guys, whether you're single or with a couple. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.